The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Deepak Biscuitwala, and I am a Human Development and Leadership Division webinar host. Brooks Kedar, he is a panelist also joining with us here today. I have a few logistics to just talk about. Number one, we always welcome all questions. You can type your questions at the lower right section of the panel called questions, and we will address all of your questions at the end of the webinar during the Q&A time. To earn your continuing education credit, you have to be at least 45 minutes on this webinar. So saying that, let me give you some background about today's speaker. Webinar is the words we use, and our speaker is Kam Gupta. He's a trained and certified executive leadership development and life coach dedicated to achieve empowering results for his customers and associates. He is a senior member of ASQ and has worked with the ASQ and its division at various levels, including member of board of directors, human development and leadership division chair, and local and various levels. Kam is active associate with International Federation, and he is the past president of the Chicago chapter. He is a strong customer advocate through his approach called customer experience. Kam is international speaker on topics of leadership, coaching, and customer experience. He has taught graduate in leadership in University of Clear, Mexico. Kam's experience has a vast network of industries, institutions, and leaders by creating empowering impact. Kam also holds a master's degree in engineering and management from MSOE, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So, welcome, Kam. Kam, this is your time. Please take over.
Thank you, Deepak, and thank you, Brooks. I know you are there. And good evening, good morning, buenos dias, dobre utra, wherever you are. I'd like to welcome you to this really wonderful topic that we will share today and really experience it. So I'm going to go through these slides that I have prepared and talk as we go. And if you have any questions that arise, or if you feel something strongly about, please do write in the questions. And I'm sure I will be able to see all of them towards the end. And if you do not get the answer, I will positively get back to you after the workshop. So today I will talk about how we use these words. You know, sometimes we say something and then we say, oh, I wish I had not said that thing. Or this is not what I meant. I think you misunderstood. All these things relate to how we say the words and what words we say. So let's go further into it and explore what it means to us. So today's objective is understand why we use certain words. What they tell about us, our leadership style. Are we willing to elevate the level of words? How do we associate our leadership styles with the words we use? And then if I really don't like where I am and I want to really grow further, what are some of the ways I can do it? In the meantime, if you think there is something else you would like to discuss, please add this in your questions and we might make it a subject of the future webinar, or we might discuss it offline somewhere. So get ready, enjoy the next 1 hour. So what defines our leadership? We make decisions based on our circumstances. That's one way we live our life. Or we make decisions in spite of our circumstances, in defiance or whatever. That's another way. Or we make decisions to create our circumstances. So think about where we are, where you are in that spectrum. So, and these are progressive levels or leadership decision making. So as our leadership levels change, so does our energy, and so do our words. So before I really begin, I would like to go through this affirmation. So please stay with me. I'm going to read that. Take a deep breath. And if you like, close your eyes and just pay attention to what is being said. I am positive that this web-based interaction will bring out the highest level of curiosity and interest in our ability to feel connected and appreciative of the opportunity to learn and grow as leaders. Thank you so much, and let's move forward. So we all use our words. We have a special dictionary that we use. That dictionary has limited number of words, sometimes less than 10% of the Webster's dictionary. However, among those vocabulary, there are some words we use so often and so much that people know us very well by the words we use. Sometimes they are even able to predict what we will say next. So what and how of the words is very unique to us. We may have rational or irrational words. We may have sensitive or insensitive words. They may be guiding or they may be prescribing. We might say some words intentionally and some might be totally unintentional. At least that's what we think. So there are three perspectives to every time we speak a word. The user, the one that I am when I use a word, the receiver of that word message that I want to send, and then the observer around us. And they all may have different interpretation of the word that I use. So the best communication is when my words I understood similarly by everyone around me in exactly what I meant. So let's explore that further. We know that words speak volumes. When I say I don't like it, some people will interpret it, gee, he was mean. Some people will say, well, then what can we do to change it? Some people say, well, I don't know, he should have said that. Or maybe he was having a bad day. So all can be different, but they speak a lot about us. They speak about our present state of being, where we are, to a perceptive eye. They tell us about our patterns of communication. How do we think, what we say? They also tell us about our abilities and sustainabilities. That means, do we really live up to what we say? And how sustainable we are in our relationships by the words we use. So if we can think about that, verbal communication is words in action. So before I go any further, I have always done workshops in public, in front of live audiences, face to face, eyes to eyes. This is a remote connection. So I'm hoping that you are feeling as if we are seeing face to face. And if there is any change you would like to make, please make sure you add that in your questions. And I will get the message to make sure to change these things in the future. So how do we choose the words that we use? That's an important part. So sometimes when people ask, how does it look? You will get different response from different people. I posed this question to a group of people. One said, what do you mean? Other said, well, I don't know. Third one said, I have no opinion. Fourth one said, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And the fifth person said, they can suggest some improvement to what they see. So even the person who's hearing it, their response is based on their thoughts and their emotions at that present time. So think about that. Our thoughts always come from the past, always. And our past is created by our environment. And I'll show you in the next slide how that impacts us. If we have a positive past, our present is more positive. If we have a very negative past, our present can be troublesome to us and to those around us. Positive words always create positive impact. That's how much potential they have. So let's look at what influences us. So there is a cause and effect relationship. That's one of the quality tools generally used in finding out why. So we are a reflection of ourselves, who we are. And when we were born, we were the purest form of self. And then as soon as we were born, we were surrounded by our environment, which is our family, our friends slowly, then others around us, our neighbors, and then the other environment that were around us. They all create and shape who we become. Because we have no conscious mind until our formative years are over, we are very much influenced by these things. So if when I'm born, if I keep being told don't, my habits will become that of don't, defiance. If I'm always told positive things with love, with empowerment, chances are my persona will be very different in that circumstance. So this environment that I have creates my thoughts, the way I think. And these thoughts then determine how I feel. So if I am defiant that, no, you can't do that to me, that means I am feeling angry. And that feeling will determine how I will act. What will I say? What words will I use? And what kind of relationship I will establish with the person in front of me, which will bring results. And their results is the culmination of my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions. And these results then will create an experience for me that in turn will recreate myself. So it will either reinforce what I was, or if I'm surprised in this interaction, then my past may be different slightly because it will be impacted by these experiences. And it's a continuous cycle. It is happening every single time, all the time. And we have the power to change if we don't like what we are becoming. So why we use the words? We use only two types of operational mode. We have either reaction mode or we have action mode. So when we are in reaction mode, our responses and our words come from unconscious mind, regardless of the consequences. Because when we are unconscious, we don't even know what the consequence will be. And when we are operating in the action mode, our responses are coming from the conscious mind. Again, regardless of the consequences, because we are consciously taking action to create consequences. So we use words to communicate. That's the only reason we use words. If we did not need to communicate, we won't be talking. And when we have something to convey to the receiver, it could be me, myself. I can be my own receiver as well, like self-talk. We always combine our communication with other modes of communication, which is gestures, tones, the volumes, and so forth. So this together creates a composite energy that is transmitted to the universe and to the receiver. So communication is all energy. As if you are a science student or if you have heard about it, all communication is through sound, sight, smell, or feel. All communication is waves of energy, reflecting different frequencies based on our intentions and intent. So if I'm angry, my energy will be very different versus if I'm really, really romantic or if I'm loving to my children, which is different then. So all energy is reflective of how I feel and what I think. The energy can have positive or negative impact in the communication cycle. And sometimes that impact can be unintentional. However, if my intent is very clear to me, my approach to the impact of my communication will be very different versus if my intent and my intentions are different. And what I will do in the end, I will give you some real life examples in different scenarios. So these things will become very clear in how it really works in real life. I had the privilege of coaching many executives of different companies, business owners, and individuals in relationships. And once they understood their energy and their intent and their intentions, they were able to make the changes that they wanted in their lives to happen. So here is example of some of the words. So tell me if these words reflect negative energy or positive energy. You don't have to tell me, just write down in your own if you have the paper or pencil there, or think about it. But is that a negative energy word or is that a positive energy word? Don't do that. Is that a negative energy word or a positive energy word? Try. Why don't you try? Oh, okay, I will try. What does that mean? Try actually has no energy because it never happens. Okay, punishment. Is that a positive driver or a negative driver? It may bring the desired results, but is that a positive driver or a negative driver? Passion. When we do something with passion, is that positive energy or negative energy. I think you should do this. If I were you, I wouldn't do that. Is that a positive energy or a negative energy? Think about it. You know, I have to go to work. Somebody has to make a living. What do you think about that energy? You can't do that. Okay, I told you so. What kind of energies are those? Love. Is love a negative energy or a positive energy? See how we use these words. Mark down which words we use the most in your own way of these words. And sometimes we use many of these words totally unconsciously. When I was speaking on this slide just now, I noticed I used the word but 3 times. Let's look at these words. So you can do that in your own time. If you want, I can send this slide out also to you. Identify energy of the following words. Now each person may identify it differently based on how these words are used. However, the underlying energy will never change. Like have to is always a negative energy word. A word of I have no choice. Should is a prescriptive word. That means I'm telling you how to live your life. That really can't be a positive energy. You can't do that. It's taking me in the direction of what I can't do versus what I can do. So this is another thing, that negative energy tends to create resistance, tends to create defiance, tends to create hurt. So look at the number 13, unloved. When I feel unloved, what is happening? Versus when I feel loved. What kind of energies are depicted in these two different words? When I'm lonely versus when I'm alone, what kind of energies are there? People can be very positive when they're alone, but they're never positive when they're lonely. See how we use these words. Even if we don't use these words and if they come in our thoughts, they're as good as using them. So here are the scoring guidelines. 10 means it's a super positive word, 5 is neutral, 3 means it's a low negative, and 1 means it's high negative. And see how you score it. Higher the score, the more positive you have in your communication. The next slide will talk about more about the phrases. So when I say these phrases, think of what does it tell me? Do I see positive? Do I feel positive? Or do I feel negative? So I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. So think about that. If I see an opportunity where we both can benefit. That's a win-win situation. Wow, that's a win-win. That means it will draw the interest of the other person right away. I told my son it's going to be my way or the highway. Is that a positive or negative? It brings in defiance in the other person. It brings hurt. It brings the feeling of not being loved, not being understood. So those are kind of things that decide how we are communicating and what words we are using. It also challenges me, how can I communicate this message to my son by using different words that are positive? Words are very much associated with leadership. You must have seen that some leaders always thrive on fear and punishment and consequences and action. They just keep working and working like a workaholic and don't get very far. They live day to day. Then there are leaders who are relaxed, calm, look at the bigger picture, they're happy, they're joyful, they make the life of their employees much more happy, and their employees also choose to work harder rather than be coerced and forced to do hard work. And they're also given the opportunities to simplify their work if they feel it is very hard. Two people, different words, different mindset, different level of leadership. So let's explore that and see how the words impact those leadership. Bob Anderson, the founder of Leadership Circle, he also co-authored the book Mastering Leadership. He described 5 stages of leadership. Now, this is just an example I picked from this book, but if you know that there are thousands of leadership styles and leadership metrics and leadership abilities, so you can choose any. The energy and the words that are associated with those styles is consistent. So I'm going to talk about the energy and the words rather than about just these 5 leadership styles. So this is just an example. So let's look at each 5 of them. Egocentric, they tell exactly what to do. So like they're talking to a robot. They constantly watch and monitor you like they don't trust you. They don't let them off the hook. So even if you're not doing anything wrong, they will never appreciate you. They will always tell you, you got to work harder. Okay, today we got it made, but tomorrow you have to work harder. They will never let the person feel accomplished, happy or fulfilled. They are troubled in themselves. So their words that they use is highly denigrating, highly taunting, unrespectful, controlling and punishing in nature. They're immune to other person's pain. If not immune, they make themselves immune at that point. Whatever they do, they drive fear or control. Control itself is another form of fear. So the word they use is, you can't do that. These are the only things you can do. You have to do it, or we have to do it. If you want to get paid, this is what you have to do. It's the policy. I'm sorry, I'll have to let you go. That's the company policy. Good, next. This is how their conversations are. They are not like people who work there. They know they're only working to get paid. If they had a better opportunity, they will leave. Yet it doesn't change their style. They are never ever thinking any different. So number of such leaders is few and far between. Nevertheless, they do exist. Let's look at the next level, which is more reactive. So they are in autopilot mode. The reactive people are the ones who put the cart before the horse, so to speak. They will say something first before they think. So that means they're reacting to somebody else's expectations. They never create or own those expectations. They don't own their work. They do it because somebody else is asking them to do it. So they're influenced by outside expectations, past and present, including their own past. So they're hierarchical in nature. They like top-down control, so they can follow the procedures and policies and everything else. So they use policies and procedures to control rather than to enable. People work cautiously so they don't get caught. So they do only what is asked to do, nothing more, and then they go home. So they work by the clock, just like the people in the first case. So words that refer to procedures and policies, compliance mindset. This is not what the procedure says. What experiences are mostly negative. For these people, past experiences are generally negative. They have lived in negative environment and they have seen some painful consequences. I had one client who employed 200 people and he was highly reactive, highly disrespectful of others. And when I asked him why he's like that, he said, Kam, this is how my boss treated me and he got promoted. So I thought if I become like that, the sky is the limit. Success is not sustainable without excessive supervision for these people. This is how they believe. And then the fourth one is the creative. Third one is the creative people. Creative people choose their words. They decide what to say, when to say. They're positive people. They choose to show up. They also would decide how should I come across to this person. That means they think first. They have a purpose and a value. So they live by those things. They're highly innovative. They're engaged. They take interest in others' work. And they are accountable and they hold others accountable. And they invite ideas and they're open to other people's inputs because their creativity increases when other people provide input to them. So they use the words that propel them, that motivate them, and that drive action. Their team-related words, they use the we words a lot. They're highly dynamic in nature. They're action-driven. They're like excited about the things they do. So their people also show up as a positive energy. And when they're tired or they're complaining, they understand that my boss will understand it. Their actions are related to goals and outcomes, no longer policies and procedures. So policies and procedures are guidelines. They don't decide how an outcome will happen. So let us, what do you think? How about that? How can I support you? These are the kind of words they choose and they use. See the difference in the energy we feel when somebody talks to me like this versus you have no choice. And that's the difference great leadership begins to make in the organizations they work. The fourth kind is the integral leadership, which focuses more on the bigger picture. Focus on doing the right things right. Isn't that what quality assurance teaches us, that we need to first know what the right thing is and then do it right? They're open to new approaches. So they are even willing to change the method, even though procedure says this way. They're going to give it a try. No need to fix or favor. So if there is a difference in opinion, if different people are fighting in the team, they want to give it time to resolve it rather than fix or favor it. They see diversity as a strength. They're very self-managed, flat, and lean. They have shared responsibility. And rules and regulations are enablers. So they use the words like autonomous teams. They welcome all the inputs. Highly connecting words. Wow, you did a great job. Appreciative inquiry, right? They ask, gee, that was good. So how did you do it? Wow, we did it. You were great. What is next? They change paradigms. The way we used to do it can be changed. And then the fourth one is the unitive. It's a new word. I didn't find it in the dictionary. And that means their enlightened awareness. Now, unitive is more like a really at a very high level, top of the pyramid. So it's a more individual leadership than an organizational leadership. So that they see all as one united entity. They're highly unique. People feel lucky to have such a leader. That means they give you unbounded empowerment. And such people are very rare in organization. So their words relate to think, feel, choices, possible outcomes, purpose of creating, why are we doing it, exciting the customers. So if you look at the Kano model, I don't know if you have heard about that word Kano model, in there they are in that unknown area where they really create things that excite the customer. They treat employees with utmost equality, sincerity, truthfulness, and transparency. They're highly engaging. They're mesmerizing actually. They create the dream teams. And they compliment a lot. Meaningful compliment, not just great job, but rather really identifying what is great. So if you look at this energy thought, I don't know if you can see the whole screen. Leadership level and the energy levels. As the leadership level rises, so does the energy level. And as our energy level rises, our words also rise according to the level of our leadership abilities. Sometimes I have difficult look. So let's look at this next chart. So these were the words that we saw last time, right? So let's see if we have to make them positive words. How will we change these? What will we do differently? What will we say instead of but? You know, but is a word where everything said before but is negated. You look beautiful, but, oh my God, you mean I don't look beautiful? So how can we change but? So I have listened and talked to different people, and these are some of the words that came up with that we can replace with. So but can be replaced with and. So you look beautiful and. That means it validates everything that I have said before. Don't with do. When we say don't do it, it only tells me what not to do, but it never tells me where can I go from here. However, if you say do this instead, it automatically implies that there are more choices. Try is something that never happens. Do is when you take action. So then we ask somebody, can you talk to my boss and see if I can be promoted? And the other person says, yeah, I will try. You can bet it will never happen. But if they say, yes, I will do it, that means they're making a commitment. It's more likely to happen. Punishment can be replaced with consequences, results. Passion is a positive word. It does not need to be changed. Would or should is more prescription about my life from my life's experiences, which is not somebody else's life. However, if I use the word will or could, that gives me choices. Could gives me choice. Instead of I should do that, if I say I could do that, that means I have a choice. Have to becomes choose to, can't becomes can, and love becomes love. No problem there. Think about what else you could use in place of those words. Or why would you use those words? What is your intention? So I will come to this slide a little bit later. These are some real case examples based on the time. But let me go to the next slide. How do I get there? If I really want to improve something or improve my ability to use words, this is one approach that my clients take. They assess their present state of words they use. So they keep a log every day that these are the words I'm using most often. and energy they reflect. So they consciously live their life for 1 week. They determine their willingness to raise the energy level in their spoken communication. So they choose which energy they will use. They determine their target. Okay, so this is where I want to be in 2 weeks. So they choose some words to change and they practice those words and then keep the log. Find the words that reflect the energy they desire, and they determine graduated approach to start using the new words with new energy. That means their thoughts also align with the words they use. So let's go to this example. I have about 5 minutes that I can talk about. The impossible challenge or the authentic interview. I like the number 4 first, the what I like habit. I was doing a conference on leadership in ISO, and one person got up after the conference and he says, Kam, I just want to tell you, you are my person of the day. And I said, what does that mean? He says, you know, every day when I meet people, I always, first thing I think about is what I like about them. Because when I look at that, I'm always on the positive trail. I don't see anything negative after that because I see so many things that I like about them. And today, the way you communicated with us about the leadership role, I really loved it. So I like your way of communication. Bingo. And it influenced me so much that I said, I want to be like him. And from there on, I always tell people when I meet them what I like about them. And it has changed all the words I use. It has changed all the energy that I exhibit. And it really made a transformation in me. Just one stroke of interaction. And remember, everything is a multiple choice. So the word have to does not exist. When people say, I have to go to work, and I say, no, you don't have to. And the guy says, yeah, but then what will I feed my family? I said, so you want to go to work so you can feed your family, rather than I have to go to work. So when you say, I want to go to work, that means you are driven by the desire to feed your family, which is very different that you have no choice. Same thing is the impossible. Impossible was an interesting thing when somebody said, how do you spell impossible? And the person says, I-M-P-O-S-S-I-B-L-E. Oh, you mean I am possible. Wow, it just opened up everything. That means nothing is impossible. And that's how we can change all our can'ts into can. In the authentic interview approach, I was interviewing for a directorship position and the candidate told me, I said, what are your achievements? And he says, you know, come to think of it, I have none. I said, what do you mean? You are a vice president of operations. He said, well, you know, I have 200 people working for me. They are the one who made everything happen. So how can I take credit for their achievement? You know, I did not have to ask any more questions, and I asked him when he could start. How powerful. He was being authentic. He was being himself. So he did not come with the mindset that I hope I get this job. He came with the mindset how wonderful this partnership will be. So think about how these words make a difference. Every single word we use makes a difference in our world of relationship, leadership, and living all the time. So in short, we learned today what the words we use are based on influences around us. However, if we cannot change those influences, we can start working on changing the words, which in turn will change how we feel and might affect our thoughts. Words reflect our level of energy, which can be negative or positive. So find out what kind of energy do we have. Different words reflect different engaging energy. You must have noticed that when we use a lot of negative words, when we are really grouchy, we only congregate with people who are grouchy. Positive people don't stick around us. Word and usage differ at each leadership level. So higher your leadership level is, the different word set we begin to use. Understanding the present state, desired state, and approach with accountability can bring astonishing results for us in our lives in a very short period of time. If you need further inquiries, if you want to talk to me, I do a lot of lunch and learns. Let me know, or if you have any specific question that we will not be able to answer in this workshop, please let me know, and you can connect with me through any of these means. Deepak?
Yes, Cam, thank you very much. It was wonderful webinar. I think we got a lot of good information. And before I start Q&A, you want to talk about your next webinar?
Yes. Thank you. And I'm very excited that in March, Deepak and the HD&L division have engaged me to do a webinar on leadership and executive coaching. Because I was in quality assurance for the longest time, and I found that we were always or mostly at the receiving end. And we were always or mostly reacting rather than really proacting. And we always got the short end of the sticks whenever it was possible. So I decided that if we can coach those people into taking responsibility and taking action and stop the blame game, I think we will be much more effective in our intention of creating a world-class quality organization than if we were just a quality professional doing what we are told to do. So I will share how to become an effective coach and what kind of words and questions we can use so we can be more impactful with the people that we interact and make them feel really empowered in everything they do.
Thank you,
And
Cam.
when is that? That's on March 8th, right?
March, we haven't decided date yet, but it will be sometime March, I would say, third Wednesday of the March.
Okay.
But Cam, again, thank you very much. We have a few questions here that audience asking about. So first question is about more about the logistic, and this is about how does this webinar get ASQ credit, education credit?
Okay.
So that's a good question. I think probably I can answer that. So what will happen is that after this webinar, we have time management, how much time each candidate has attended or spent on this particular webinar. And if you attended 35 minutes or more, then you will receive email regarding what webinar, who was the presenter, and how much continuing education credit you can receive. So when recertification time comes, basically you print out that and you will get 0.1 recertified unit RU in the ASQ. So that's how you will get it. Another question I have is a long question from Michael, and probably please pardon me, it might take time to read. So is more like a question or general discussion look like. Cam, you are suggesting that the words we speak are more indicative of ourselves and our experiences, but does that always translate into the words we write as well? I see people who either add or stop the social filters on what they say, depending upon the medium they say these things in. For an example, many people are much more harsh online than they are in person.
Very good point. Thank you so much. And it is true. This is mostly about our spoken words. When we write, we see what we are writing. We are able to change what we are writing. We are able to think what we are writing, and we are able to do it over what we are writing. So that's the reason written communication is slightly different. And our intention is more clear when we are writing. We want to make sure that the person we are writing will get the message, either bad message or good message, but we will know what we are doing. When we are speaking, we don't have time to think back. We act like a machine, like that baseball machine that keeps splitting the baseballs and you just keep hitting them. So that's our state of being. If we are in a reaction mode, we don't think first. We first say and then we think. However, when you are in action mode, yes, then our action mode and our written mode are much more similar because we know we are thinking before we are speaking and we know we are thinking before we are writing. I hope it answers your question, Michael.
Thank you, Kam. I have another question for our attendee. His name is Guru, and his question is, isn't try, especially as in try-storming, a positive energy?
Okay, so there's an English proverb that says, to try is to fail. To do is to prevail. So when someone says, I will try, 90% of the time, I will try means I want to get rid of the person ahead of me. So I want to just say I will try, okay? That means I did not make a commitment. Try also means if I get chance, I will do it. So next time when you are out and about and somebody says, I will try, follow up and see what happens. Most people who say, I will try, do not get the time to do it because they did not either write it down in their calendar, nor did they make a commitment to that thing.
Thank
so
you, Kam.
try can be a positive energy if you are intending to really do it. And when you're intending to do it, that means you are really taking action. Then it's no longer a try.
Thank you, Kam. I have another question from Michael. If the words we say are indicated by our experience, are the way we receive communication also influenced by our experience?
We receive, yes. So if somebody says, I love you, and if I have been hurt in the past a lot and deceived and everything, I will receive that message very carefully, very differently. Then if I have been experiencing a very positive impact of love throughout my life, and when somebody says, I love you, that message will be very different for me.
I have another question from Andrew. He's saying, if I try to use more positive words, will I sound fake?
Look in the mirror, speak those words. If you are sounding fake, then it is fake. If you are authentically using those words and you mean it, you will never sound fake. People will say, hey, what happened? You changed, man. You're so positive. And you can say, yes, you are absolutely right. Because now you are authentic.
Well said. I have a question another question from David. Will you send copy of this presentation? The slides were informative and I could not take notes fast enough to get all the good information down. I would like to get a copy of this informative slide to review. So David, I can answer this. So we, every webinar Human Development Leadership present, we record those webinar and we post the webinar and the presentation PDF format on the Human Development and Leadership website. That link will be provided after the webinar or by the end of this week with all the information. So you will receive that.
Thank you.
Let me see. Then I have another question from, sorry, I'm trying to get questions. Okay, so I might mispronounce the name, but the person name is Jared. So he's kind of a commentary about, you know, the fake it until you make it. The point is to conscious of your own voice and choice of words. You can change and you can be positive and become a motivator in your organization. Any comment, Kam?
Amen. You are absolutely right. If you can consciously change the word, then you're not faking it, number one. That means you are absolutely being aware of what you're doing, and it will reflect in your thoughts. If you're feeling uncomfortable using it, then you're faking it.
One of the things, the gentleman who asked the question, will I seem fake? If you have a very negative opinion of somebody and you say nice things about them, you probably will sound fake. Part of this process is to view people in a more positive light, and part of it is the words will help you, but part of it is you have to also develop a more positive attitude about people. They go hand in hand.
Thank you, Brooks. So the question was what do I see, what do I like? You know, that's the question. If we can change our mindset to what I don't like, because when we meet somebody, first thing we look at what we don't like about them. So if we can change that mindset and say what I like about them, bingo. Your words will change dramatically and authentically.
Very good, Kam. And I think I have a last question here from audience. His name is Guru again. Is there an upcoming webinar on human development frameworks? Brooks, would you like to answer that?
Is there an upcoming webinar on what?
Human development frameworks.
I'm not sure what's being asked. We're in the process of working very hard on the body of knowledge, and that's going to generate some webinars pretty soon. And that's the framework of, that's a framework. I'm not sure it's the one the person's talking about. But there's a lot of work going on right now. We've got over 20 people in a writing group working on the various topics that constitute our body of knowledge.
So the Guru has responded, yes, this is what he was talking about. So Brooks, whatever you mentioned that he was looking for.
You mean I answered the question right?
That is correct.
Oh, okay. Kam, one thing I like about your presentations is you always have enthusiasm, and
Thank you.
that's important.
So Brooks and Kam, thank you very much. I believe I don't have any other questions. And all the audience who attended today, thank you very much. You will receive survey link and all the information about this webinar by end of this week. And again, thank you very much. It is 7 o'clock and it's time to turn off. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kam.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are. Adios.
Thanks.
Hey, Brooks.
If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Good advice.
So the